Recently, I was watching a segment on the Rubin Report with Dave Rubin, and he had this woman on, I forgot her name, I feel bad. They were talking about pro-life versus pro-choice, and one of the best arguments they bring up, but still, it's an argument. I'm pro-choice, for those that are curious. But it's a really good argument. The pro-life woman says, how is it that a tiny cell on Mars is called life on Mars, but the cells in the woman's womb is not life? Well, it's an interesting point. It is life. It's just an issue of, do you care? Well, that was an interesting point, which now brings me off of the political and into the wondrous and scientific idea of life on other planets. So let's move away from politics, lest we all get extremely angry at each other, and talk about something that's interesting and cool. Is this proof of life on Mars? NASA's Curiosity rover snaps photos of Martian mushrooms that prove the red planet is home to organic life forms, scientists claim in controversial study. Images from the surface of Mars reveal the presence of mushrooms. A group of scientists claim in a controversial study, it states some images captured by NASA's Curiosity show fungi is growing on the surface of the supposedly barren planet. The claims have yet to be confirmed or refuted by NASA. Look at this. So a study claims that these are fungus, mushrooms. I heard a story, I don't know how true it is, maybe you guys are into science, that mushrooms actually are believed to be alien because they're so dramatically different from all the other life on the planet. They believe it maybe came from, it's otherworldly, and then evolved and became its own thing. I don't know if that's true. These are just fun ideas. And I also want to talk a little bit about Fermi's Paradox, which maybe we'll get to. The research lists 15 images as evidence of algae, lichens, and Martian mushrooms. I wonder what they taste like. Photographic evidence of such flourishing life forms should the discovery be confirmed would likely revolutionize our understanding of Mars and life outside of Earth. Dr. Regina Das of the Department of Microbiology at the School of Life Sciences, India, the study's co-author said, there are no geological or other abiogenetic forces on Earth which can produce sedimentary structures by the hundreds which have mushroom shapes, stems, stalks, and shed what looks like spores onto the surrounding surface. Is that what they're claiming? That is interesting. Take a look at this. Around these little doodads, yeah, look at this. That's weird, right? But surrounding them, you've got this weird stuff. So what, are they like spraying it out? Doesn't make sense. Wouldn't it be everywhere? Surrounding surface. The Express reports. In fact, 15 specimens were photographed by NASA growing out of the ground in just 3 days. Ooh, that'd be really cool, wouldn't it? It remains unknown why life may have sprouted on Mars, but it is possible conditions are more suitable for cultivating life underground than on the surface. The claims have been published in the Journal of Astrobiology and Space Science Reviews. A controversial piece of research such as this is subjected to extensive vetting by peers within the scientific community. When I was little, I was presented with like the basis of what life is and what life requires, and they say water. I think now it's been changed dramatically because our understanding of life is really unique to the conditions and everything on our planet. So that's where we get our, it's a relative basis. Like, oh, okay, if all life on this planet needs these things, then life needs these things. It's like an oxidizer, water, chemical energy, stuff like that. But then I started reading some other stuff, and again, not an expert on this, that talked about how essentially you don't need water. You just need something that a liquid medium, something that's like some kind of atmosphere that can contain and move information, and something that can encode information. And apparently carbon, of which we are based, is really good at encoding information because it has a bunch of different forms. But silicon is also as well. I'm not entirely sure. I could be wrong, but let's read on. And then we'll talk about Fermi's Paradox, which is, if you're not familiar, Fermi's Paradox is just a set of ideas. It's a question asking, if life on another planet, if intelligent life exists, why haven't we found it yet? And I got a big list. It's going to be great. So here's a photo. They say, 15 images including evidence of algae, lichens, and Martian mushrooms pictured. The claims have been published in the journal. Okay, we get it. So is that supposed to be evidence? Photographic evidence of such flourishing life forms, should the discovery be confirmed, would revolutionize. Yeah, we read that. Okay. Editors of the journal say 6 independent scientists and 8 senior editors were recruited to scrutinize the study. 11 recommended publication on the grounds certain revisions were implemented, and 3 rejected the results. Other academics proposed an alternative explanation and say it is more feasible the specimens are hematite, a form of iron oxide. The journal stated, Evidence is not proof, and there is no proof of life on Mars. Stop raining on my parade, scientists. Abiogenetic explanations for this evidence can't be ruled out. So then they have this list. I guess we'll go through this list. Is that the end of the story? All right. What evidence do scientists have for life on Mars? The search for life on other planets has captivated mankind for decades, but the reality could be a little less like the Hollywood blockbuster scientists have revealed. Excuse me. They say if there was life on the red planet, it probably will present itself as fossilized bacteria and have proposed a new way to look for it. Here are the most promising signs of life so far. Water. When looking for life on Mars, experts agree that water is key, at least based on the temperature and things like that. Although the planet is now rocky and barren with water locked up in polar ice caps, there could have been water in the past. In 2000, scientists first spotted evidence for the existence of water on Mars. The NASA Mars Global Surveyor found gullies that could have been created by flowing water. The debate is ongoing as to whether these recurring slope lineae, RSL, could have been formed from water flow. Meteorites. Earth has been hit by 34 meteorites from Mars, 3 of which are believed to have the potential to carry evidence of past life on the planet, writes Space.com. In 1996, experts found a meteorite in Antarctica known as ALH 84001 that contained fossilized bacteria-like formations. Ooh. However, in 2012, experts concluded that this organic material had been formed by volcanic activity without the involvement of life. Bummer. Signs of life. The first close-ups of the planet were taken by the 1964 Mariner 4 mission. These initial images showed that Mars has landforms that could have been formed when the climate was much wetter and therefore home to life. Maybe billions of years ago? Okay, it gets into that. In 1975, the first Viking orbiter was launched, and although inconclusive, it paved the way for other landers. Many rovers, orbiters, and landers have now revealed evidence of water beneath the crust and even occasional precipitation. Earlier this year, NASA's Curiosity rover found potential building blocks of life in an ancient Martian lakebed. But is this contradicted by the article just now? The organic molecules preserved in 3.5 billion-year-old bedrock in Gale Crater, believed to have once contained a shallow lake the size of Florida's Lake Okeechobee, suggest conditions back then may have been conducive to life. Future missions to Mars plan on bringing samples back to Earth to test them more thoroughly. That sounds like a hell of an endeavor. How do we launch back off the surface? You need a lot of energy for that. Methane. In 2018, Curiosity also confirmed sharp seasonal increases of methane in the Martian atmosphere. Experts said the methane observations provide one of the most compelling cases for present-day life. Curiosity's methane measurements occurred over 4.5 Earth years, covering parts of 3 Martian years. Seasonal peaks were detected in late summer in the northern hemisphere and late winter in the southern hemisphere. The magnitude of these seasonal peaks by a factor of 3 was far more than scientists expected. One of the coolest ideas. Science fiction, but hear me out. One of the coolest ideas, a story I read, I can't remember, I think it was like online, that Venus was once Earth-like, so it is claimed. And a runaway greenhouse effect turned it into a dense, acid rain, uninhabitable wasteland. Apparently, I don't know if this is true, like, this is not news, this is me from stuff I've read a long time ago, but we, like, sent a lander to Venus and it got eroded or destroyed or something. And so one of the coolest ideas that I read, it was science fiction, but not in the sense where it was meant to be like a fictional story, but meant to be like a cool, entertaining idea of what may have been, is that life originated on Venus, and we destroyed the planet, and then Noah's Ark was actually when we loaded up the last ship and fled the planet after we destroyed it and landed on Earth and terraformed it, but only a small amount of people did. Wouldn't that be cool? I once heard a story that the stories of the Bible were a desperate attempt to, like Noah's Ark, we fled Venus. I don't think it's actually true. I'm just saying it's a really fun sci-fi idea. But let's spend the last minute or so talking about Fermi's Paradox. Let me see if you can read this. So, Fermi's Paradox is basically, it's named after Enrico Fermi, and is the apparent contradiction between the lack of evidence and high probability estimates for the existence of extraterrestrial civilizations. The basic points of the argument made by physicists Enrico Fermi and Michael H. Hart are: there are billions of stars in the galaxy that are similar to the sun. Many of these stars are billions of years older than ours. With high probability, some of these stars have Earth-like planets, and if Earth is typical, some may have developed intelligent life. Some of these civilizations may have developed interstellar travel, a step the Earth is investigating now. Even at the slow pace of currently envisioned interstellar travel, the Milky Way galaxy could be completely traversed in a few million years. They then go on to give A huge list of reasons as to why we don't see life. So 1, mainstream, extraterrestrial life is rare or non-existent. That'd be a bummer. No other intelligent species have arisen. Maybe. Intelligent alien species lack advanced technology. Maybe we are the first. It is the nature of intelligent life to destroy itself is the saddest. Because I think that may be true. We compete. We evolve through competition. Eventually, we compete with ourselves to continue. And without competition, we become like the dodo bird. Because we compete, we get to the point where we compete with nuclear weapons. And then we're all dead. Periodic extinction by natural events. Yup. Jupiter actually, there's a video, a GIF that was on Reddit of Jupiter. Its gravity is pulling the asteroid belt from colliding into the inner solar system, which is really interesting. And I talked to a religious guy about that. I mentioned in another video. Intelligent civilizations are too far apart in space or time. Very sad. We are not listening properly. They tend to isolate themselves. Colonization is not normal. They are too alien. Maybe they're just so different. We don't even understand what they are. Earth is deliberately not contacted is also sad and terrifying. Or Earth is purposefully isolated. I talked about this, the planetarium hypothesis, galactic zoo. It is dangerous. Or they are here, but unacknowledged. Well, who knows? But I love the idea, and I thought it would be fun to tackle this story because a lot of people want to believe. But who knows what this is? Some scientists say it's nothing. Some say it's life. I guess we'll just have to wait and find out and continue our research. But I'll leave it there. Thanks for hanging out. I will see you guys tomorrow at 10 a.m. on this channel. Adios.